Good evening and a very warm welcome to this webinar. Patrick, can you hear me? Am I audible? Very good. I am your host. My name is Leah Nzisa from CloudForceSKy community. I am one of the coordinators. I work specifically in the marketing department. I am happy to see all of you. I'm happy to see a number of you. Today we have a very special guest. You can see her picture there. She's called Janet Chesang, a cloud engineer. But before I invite Janet to speak to us, if it is your first time joining us, we are CloudForceSKy community. We are a community of cloud enthusiasts. If you would like to join us after this webinar, we will post a link. Patrick will post a link on the chat section, and you can follow the link. There is a form to fill and a few bits of information that you'll provide. And then we'll review and we'll let you know, and you can join to be a member. Please follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn. We'll post all the socials in the chat section. Follow us on LinkedIn, and also we have had several webinars during this year and the past year, and they are all available on YouTube, and you can go and check them out, as well as check out Janet Chesang's other videos in which she has presented before. Follow us so that you can be informed of any training programs we have. We have several webinars, hackathons, and anything else we might have planned for you. This webinar for today will be our last webinar this year. So we meet again next year. We have a calendar for next year. We have a hackathon in process. We have a training program also in process for next year. Make sure to join us. However, if you're a member of CloudForceSKy community, there is still a challenge for the end of the year. So be sure to follow up on that. So this webinar being the last webinar of the year, if I don't meet you again, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you lovely, wonderful people. Now, to the agenda of the day, I am going to bring in Janet Chesang. She is a very high-skilled cloud engineer, top of the notch. She's very, very passionate about youth and youth empowerment, and especially in the digital economy. She is very knowledgeable on the gig economy and the environment. And if you go to YouTube, you'll find where webinars she's done on the gig environment. She is a mentor to most of us, especially the alumni of the AWS RESTART program, which she'll be talking to us about. She is also a visionary. She is the one who envisioned CloudForceSKy community, and she is one of the co-founders. She saw it and she actioned on it, and it became an actuality. And she is also one of our community coordinators as we speak. Apart from all that, she has the AWS credentials. You can check her out in her LinkedIn profile, which we will post in the chat section also. She is Cisco certified, Huawei certified, among many other credentials. But today she's going to talk to us about AWS RESTART. She's an AWS RESTART accredited instructor. For those of you who have gone through AWS RESTART, like me, she was a very amazing teacher. She had mastered the art of clarity and class engagement. She would break down very complex concepts to small size, relatable explanation. She was very brief, very impactful. And I would also like to congratulate her here on her new role. She's been made the regional coordinator for the AWS RESTART program at the, at the Immobilis Mobile Technical Institute. So she knows what she's talking about when she talks to us about AWS RESTART program. She knows it in and out, and she knows what she's talking about. So without much ado, I would like to welcome Janet. Janet, are you with us?
Yes, Leah, I am with you guys, and wow. For a moment, I thought you were speaking about somebody else.
No, I'm speaking about Janet, our Janet. So, Janet, I will stop sharing. So maybe.
Thank you so much, Leah. Yes, you can stop share, and then we start this webinar. Thank you to everybody who has joined this webinar. I'm happy to be here, and it is amazing to be with some of the alumni. I think I've seen quite a good number of you guys who had gone through the AWS RESTART program. So it's good that we've met again. I can see familiar faces. So welcome. So I'll turn my video for a while so that you don't think a robot is taking you through this session, so that actually the restarters who have never had an opportunity of looking at Janet, kidogo mtamwona leo. Yeah. So guys, I hope you can see me. Maliniko ni giza tuonekanangi, so but today it was a privilege. So thank you so much. So I'll turn it off and then we get started. So So first of all, again, it is a pleasure to have all of you here tonight, and I'm happy to be part of this informative session. My name is Janet Chesang. I think Leah has said it all. I'm a cloud engineer and AWS RESTART accredited instructor. And today, I'll give an overview of the AWS RESTART program, what it is about, how you can benefit, how you can join the program or be part of the program. So, but before we get there, I have an icebreaker. Would you rather? So just a question or two, and it's going to test your finances. So I request you to engage with me on the chat box, and you can share the options that you have picked. 1, would you rather donate your time or donate your money? Kindly engage with me on the chat box. Would you rather, think carefully, would you rather donate your time or donate your money? Daniel, hakuna option ya mbili, just one. If you are to pick one option, would you rather donate your time or your money? So if you have somebody who's willing to defend why they think they'll donate money and not time, you're free to engage. Jane, I don't know if you can pick up, why would you donate your money and not your time? Jane Mutugi or Miriam or Alex, anybody who is willing to engage with me, would you rather donate your time or donate your money?
I'm sorry, I nimetoka kidogo from the meeting, but I'm back. I would rather donate my money rather than my time, because time is really a more valuable thing than the money. You can always make money, but time you cannot always make money, and once it's lost, it's just gone. I think that's my main reason.
Your main reason. Thank you. Daisy, why would you donate your time and not money? Daisy, I think Daisy.
I think time is more valuable than money. And time, I can make more impact using time than money. And I might have more control of the impact my time makes rather than money. Money you can give someone money and they do other things, but time I can have control.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Daisy and Jane. I see Gertrude from the chat box is saying time, since I'll get to share my expertise. Perpetua is saying money because it is impersonal. The most you lose is the actual value of that money. Yeah, that is a debate that can never end. Last one. Also think carefully about this. Would you rather have a small amount of saving and earn big, or earn very little and have a lot of savings? Let me repeat that. Would you rather have a small amount of savings and earn big, or earn very little and have a lot of savings? Dilemma. Earn little and save a lot. Save a lot. So option 1, I think we'll go with option 1 or 2. Option 1, if you'd rather have a small amount of savings and earn big, that is option 1, or earn very little and have a lot of savings, option 2. Which one will you go for? Option 2, earn little and more saving. Do you have anybody who has shared option 1? To earn more and invest more. Daniel, that is not one of the options. Either have a little savings and earn big, or more money and little savings. I don't know if I've put that correct. Yes, so that is a discussion that can never end at the same time. In my own view, Jen anasema option 1, option 2, and then save. You can earn big and not save more, but you have investments, right? Sometimes some people said somewhere that having money that is spent somewhere, is kept somewhere, can be very tricky. It should be in circulation, but views here, everybody is very different. Anyway, that is an icebreaker. We are going to get to what brought us today. So before we get there, I'll also want to understand my audience, and I'll ask another very simple question. So how many of you have known AWS Restart or have been part of the AWS Restart program? So you can respond with a 1 on the chat box. How many of you know AWS Restart program and have been part of the AWS Restart program? Respond with a 1. How many of you are thinking of joining the program and want more information about it? You can type a 2 on the chat box. So this is just a way to understand my audience. If you know AWS Restart program and you have been part of the program, type a 1. If you're thinking of joining the program and want more information about it, you can type a 2. So let me check the chat box. In the meantime, I'll share my screen. Okay, that is my screen. Let me just make it big. Hope it doesn't. Thank you. So what can you see on my screen? What can you see?
We can see a slide with some pens.
Thank you. You're on the correct slide. Thank you. So I was trying to understand my audience, and now I can check there. So Leah, you can help me with the chat box. How many have given the option 2? They want more information about the program.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 13, 14.
Okay. How many have said option 1?
Option 1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Thank you. So we have a mix. So for the guys who really want to join the program and are here to get more information, I promise you at the end of this, you'll have all the knowledge information you need to get started or kickstart your career in cloud computing. For the guys who already have been into the program and it has benefited you, you'll allow me to use you as an example, or, at some point, if you're willing to share your experience so that it can motivate some of us or some of them who really want to know what the program is about. I know some of you, but you can still volunteer, and share and actually just see how the program was impactful. Thank you. Now, what is AWS Restart program? What is AWS Restart program? That is where I'm going to start. AWS Restart program is a program offered by Amazon Web Services, and it was launched in the year 2020. Do you remember what happened in the year 2020? I think that year will never fade from anybody's memory. 2020, the year of COVID-19, the year of Corona. I think every day there was a new type of virus. I don't know what they used to call it. And, putting on masks. I think that is one thing I never liked about that season. Yes, the program was launched during the Corona season, 2020. And before it was launched, there was a problem. There was a problem. What was the problem? Technology was advancing. Cloud computing was rapidly growing. Businesses and organizations were moving to the cloud. But there was a shortage of cloud experts. Yeah. And this is what led to AWS RESTART program by AWS. So the AWS RESTART program aligns with the growing demand of cloud professionals and aims to address the skill gap in the tech industry. That is when it started, and by Amazon Web Services. So it is a free in Swahili, bure, yani bure. So Daniel, I know you are part of that program. Were you charged any money?
Hi. No, it's free of charge. Free.
Hakuna mtu alikwambia ya macho pahali?
No one.
Yes,
it was free all the way.
It is free. And it is a 12 weeks full-time program, meaning that you should commit for 12 weeks, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. No? It is instructor-led. I know of many other courses, many other free courses that are self-paced. And at some point, these disadvantages, those guys who are working already. So for AWS RESTART, you have to interact with an instructor. You have to be in session, which is quite different from a self-paced program whereby, you just have to create your own time, 3 hours, 4 hours per day, or during the weekend, depending on the flexibility or the availability of your time. This is quite different, okay? So it targets the unemployed and the underemployed. Unemployed. If you're straight from campus, fresh from campus, and you have an IT background, and you've been thinking of launching a career in cloud computing, I know in the courses that you took in university, regardless of the course, could be computer science, IT, telecommunication, cybersecurity, regardless, you have the technical background, but there was somewhere along the way you came across cloud computing, but there was no knowledge or enough resources to train yourselves on cloud computing. So this program gives you the opportunity to really delve into cloud computing, and by the time you're coming out of the program, you will have the knowledge. Actually, you'll be job ready, yeah, because you'll have been equipped with all the skills that you require to be a cloud engineer. Yeah, so that is the first instance. The second instance is for the underemployed. In Kenya, these days, you get jobs and you'll find yourself working where you've never wanted to work, but there was an opportunity. So you had to take that opportunity because there was no other option, because everybody wants to get some coins here and there. And at some point, you're never happy with your work. You're not satisfied. You've heard of the other field. Tech is growing. Technology is advancing. There's AI and all that. And you feel this is where I belong. And you feel like you want to transition. So this is also a program that you can look at. You can apply to join, and then you start your career in cloud computing. And it is designed to prepare individuals for careers in cloud computing, meaning that you don't really have to have a very strong technical background, but you should be willing to, you should have the mentality of continuous learning and the passion for cloud computing. Otherwise, it's going to prove to be quite challenging if you don't have a technical background and you want to succeed in the 12 weeks without passion, curiosity, continuous learning attitude. That could only be the only challenge. So that is it about AWS RESTART program. I'll give opportunity to anybody to ask me questions after I'm done with this very brief presentation. So the next thing, how does the curriculum look like? So before we get to the curriculum, there are AWS certifications, and the most foundational one is AWS Cloud Practitioner. So it is very possible to sit for an AWS Cloud Practitioner. Actually prepare for it in 2 weeks and pass it. But here's the challenge. That certification is going to introduce you to vocabularies: AWS core services, compute, storage, databases, security and monitoring. Yes. At the end of that, by the time you're passing your CCP, you know what an EC2 instance is, you know what an S3 bucket is, you know ABS, you know CloudTrail, you know CloudFormation, you know a lot, vocabularies, you'll be introduced to all of them. But that is not enough to land a cloud role. It's not enough. And that's why AWS Restart program incorporates additional supporting skills that are necessary for a cloud engineer. One is Linux, and that is covered in week 2. Why Linux? Most servers run in the Linux OS. Around maybe 90% of servers run on Linux. It is possible for you to launch an EC2 server because that is one of the vocabularies that you have been introduced to. But how can you configure it? Are you able to run basic Linux command? That is what AWS Restart addresses. You know, these supporting foundational services are skills that are necessary for a cloud engineer. Another one is networking. This infrastructure that you're going to provision will have to sit somewhere. You'll have to understand IP addressing, IP subnetting, protocols, all that, because the infrastructure has to sit somewhere. Yeah? Security. How do you secure this same cloud infrastructure? Are you aware of common cyber attacks? How can you secure your infrastructure from these attacks? Yeah? So it is necessary to know. And with AWS Restart, you're going to go through from the very basic, looking at what is security, how can you secure infrastructure, starting from data encryption, data at rest, all that. Securing, creating firewalls, security groups, NAC codes, all that, you have to do that. Python, how does it come in? Because you're going to get a week where you're going to learn Python, which is equally important. Why Python? There are repetitive tasks in the cloud, and it needs automation. You know, if you're that person who's always starting instances and stopping them at a specific time and then backing them up at maybe 5 p.m., that can get tiring. It's error prone. And, you know, you'll just be that one of those employees who are demotivated in life, you know, that employee who sits in a corner, never speaks to anybody, forever has attitude, is forever complaining because of repetitive tasks. And that is normal. So you need such skills to be able to automate some of the processes, repetitive tasks. So also that you don't get demotivated or boring. Your career looks like many other careers that people ditched, you know. Databases. Before you interact with AWS RDS, Aurora, do you have the foundational knowledge of databases? For example, SQL. You know, when you start to understand non-relational databases, non-relational databases, running small commands, SQL commands such as select into, select from table name into, all that. Then by the time you're moving to the cloud and you want to interact with the AWS database services, it's something easy for you, you know? So that is why the curriculum takes 12 weeks, because you do not only need these core services, AWS core services, compute, storage, database, all that. You need the supporting skills to enable you to be a cloud engineer. So by the time you're completing your 12 weeks, you will be ready for an entry role in cloud computing. So another thing is job readiness and soft skills. How do you One is hands-on learning. Hands-on learning, very important. Practical labs and scenario-based exercises that help you build confidence using cloud technologies. I remember by the time I finished my undergraduate degree, I was so knowledgeable, I could give you terms even in the middle of my dreams. But coming to implementation, that is something that I really never knew how to go about it. I was even scared of new roles because I was not very confident. This is something I learned. Probably I was looking at my neighbor's paper and maybe copying 1, 2, 3 lines. It was not that serious. If it comes to a job role, am I confident? That is the question. But now with AWS Restart, you get these lab scenarios. The labs that you're going to interact with are free. They're paid for, catered by AWS Restart. It's your work to interact with them. And this is the same environment that you're going to interact with even when you go to a real environment, working environment. So it builds the confidence. Then job readiness, as I mentioned, graduates are equipped with the skills to pursue roles such as cloud operations and all other. Resume writing, interview coaching, soft skills, what you need, communication skills, very important, personal branding. And another benefit is you get a voucher, 100%. I know these days for AWS, the issue for most programs or challenges, if you've come across AWS challenges where they're offering, they're giving vouchers, probabilities that you're going to get a 50% discount. But for AWS Restart, that is taken care of 100% if you complete the program. That is one advantage. And you get AWS Restart graduate badge. So you're internationally recognized. That means you can work remotely. You can work for any company out of this country. Yeah, so you're going global. So these are some of the benefits. Real life hands-on learning. You're prepared for the job and with evidence, certification, and the Restart badge. So some are going to ask, how do I join? If I'm interested, how do I join? Eligibility. First of all, it is a remote program. So you attend the program virtually, remotely, fully, 100%. And of course, you need a computer, personal machine, not a phone, because with a phone, you cannot do the labs. And stable internet connection. And with that, Azure Digital has partnered with AWS Restart program in Kenya. So it implements the AWS Restart program in our country. So if you're interested, just go to Azure Digital. Application is ongoing, and I'm going to share the link. Yeah, I hope that is okay. So that was my brief presentation on AWS Restart program, what it is about, how you can benefit, how to get started. So with that, I'll open the floor for any questions or anything that I may not have covered. You're curious, you're free to ask.
Hi, Janet.
Hello.
My name is Edwin.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the questions is you mentioned something about the voucher being 100%. I've recently done the cloud practitioner, and I had friends of mine who didn't pass it. Does the voucher also cover retakes?
Sorry, come again.
So my question is, does the voucher cover retakes?
Okay, so thank you. So the voucher is one time. You'll only be given one voucher. So if you don't utilize it very well and maybe fail the exam, there's no assurance for another voucher.
Okay. The second question I have is, apart from the cloud practitioner exams, do you also train for other certifications, maybe the associate certifications or the specialty certifications?
Okay, thank you for that question. For Restart is just the foundational AWS Cloud Practitioner with the supporting skills, all the necessary labs that you need, the sandbox environment. But for Associate, we're currently not offering level 2. But at the same time, when you complete and pass the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam, you're given a 50% discount voucher for an associate exam.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Again, sorry, let me respond to that as well. So also when you graduate as an AWS Restart graduate, you're given postgraduate materials that have curated content to study for solutions architect. Also the sandbox environment. So you don't really have to go and open an AWS account. You might end up paying some bills that you had not planned. So with that postgraduate material, that is catered for. Okay.
We have Gilbert, who has raised his hand.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so my question is, there was a link that was going around from the Space Tech channel, whereby we register and after we register, then we wait for confirmation and all that. So right now you have shared ajira.go.ke the link. Are we supposed to register again?
Okay, so you had registered initially before this webinar or for a previous cohort?
No. Before, like yesterday.
Or yesterday. So if you registered yesterday, you're going to receive communication. And the recruitment process involves the application. The first stage is the application and then assessment. But the assessment is not technical. It's only going to test your problem-solving skills as well as how you comprehend instructions and apply them. Yeah, so it's nothing technical. So after the assessment, then you'll proceed for an interview, then accepted into the program if you'll be successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't need to sign up to. I don't need to go to the Ajira website.
Yeah. So you don't have to go to the Ajira website. The moment you access this link and you apply, that's enough. You'll get more communication from there. So no worries.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So from the chat box, Ben is asking, is it only available for Kenyan citizens? So for this program, AWS Restart, currently, as I know, Ajira Digital is the partner organization implementing it in Kenya. So it's open for Kenyan citizens. But if you're not in this country, go to the AWS Restart website. Then you can look at countries that offer AWS Restart and find how you can join. So there are many other countries. I know of South Africa, I know of Ghana. So if you're in Ghana or Nigeria, you can apply through Azubi Africa. I've answered that.
We had Mufasa. I think Mufasa had raised their hand. Mufasa, are you still there? Okay, let's go to Godfrey Otieno.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Godfrey.
Okay, so I was asking about the time, but it's indicated that the program is 12 weeks and it starts from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So is it on a daily basis that we will have to commit the whole day for the program from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.?
Yes, Godfrey. So that is the requirement for AWS Restart Program Kenya. You should be available for 12 weeks, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. The program is quite intense. And as I mentioned, it is instructor-led. It is not self-paced. For self-paced, you can choose, you can just commit 2 hours per day depending on your availability. But for these, you're going to be in class with an instructor, and you have to be there 8 to 5 every day, Monday to Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you think maybe you'll not be available or you're not able to commit for this upcoming cohort that is coming in January all the way to April, Restart is continuous. There will be other cohorts that are going to run 13, 14. And you can apply for future cohorts when you have time.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, thank you. Gilbert?
Hi, Janet.
Hi, Gilbert.
Mine is just an encouragement, so I was thinking maybe those guys who want to ask more questions can go first, then we can conclude.
Okay, thank you. So Gilbert is one of the Restart alumni, and he has an interesting story. So Gilbert, I'll give you a chance to just share how this program impacted you. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you. So we can pick 1, 2, 3 questions before I give a chance to Gilbert. Michelle?
Thank you. Good evening, Janet.
Good evening.
I had gone through. I saw a poster on this particular program, and I noticed that there was an offer to learn Linux. Is that the case?
Yes, Michelle, you're right. So
Okay.
you're going to learn Linux, and AWS RESTART is comprehensive. It doesn't really want to get you to have the AWS Cloud Practitioner certificates and you don't have the foundational supporting skills. So that is why Linux will be taught, networking, security, introduction to databases. Yeah, I think I've mentioned all of them. Yeah, networking and Python.
Okay.
Very important to be a cloud engineer.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. My second question is, do we need to install, or how will we go about it if our operating system is probably Mac or Windows?
Okay, good question. So once you're accepted into the program, you don't have to worry about that because the sandbox environment is going to have that operating system.
Okay.
Yeah.
My last question for you is, after this course, what roles would you recommend for us after? I believe we will pass and do well. So after we've passed our exams, what roles do you suppose we can get into?
Okay, thank you, Michelle. So cloud roles are quite diverse. And the good thing with Restart is you're going to interact with almost all the modules, and it'll give you a very good foundation to select a path that you want to take. For example, it will come to a week you're going to learn about security, and you're going to learn security in the cloud. There's a week you're going to learn about Python, and after that, you're going to have a bit of DevOps and some DevOps tools. There's a week on databases, and you're going to interact with databases from AWS and actually the skills SQL. After interacting with all this, even networking, because there's an expert, there's somebody who's going to take you through networking, and you might think, my preference is networking in the cloud. I'm very good with setting up the infrastructure, the VPC, creating subnets, understand a bit of subnetting. So once you have a test of all this, then by the end of the 12 weeks, you'll have known which path you want to take. Or if you're not very sure, you'll have narrowed it down to something that maybe 2 or 3 that you'll want to take based on your experience with the content. So it's not something that I'm going to really advise you go for this, but it depends on your passion, how you interacted with the content, where you felt your heart is. Because I can promise you, you cannot master everything. You have to take a specialty. Have I answered you, Michelle?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have more questions before I let in. Okay, yeah. So we'll pick Rema, then Edwin, and then Mufasa. So I don't know if Mufasa, you're able to ask your question, but Rema, you can go ahead.
Hello, Janet.
Hello.
All right, so thank you for the presentation. I just have a few questions, just one actually, regarding the program on board. So you mentioned that there is first the application, then some assessment, and then lastly an interview for one to get through. So I just wanted to find out what the interview is all about. Are they testing technical skills? Or why the interview, and say maybe what are they trying to gauge and find out?
So I'll answer the latter first. So why the interview? The interview are necessary because, first of all, we have to know if you have the passion to really study that cloud computing. Second, we have limited resources. We might get 3,000, 4,000 application, and resources are only available for 300. So there should be a criteria to know who's going to get to the program based on your commitment, how you have shown your desire to join the program. So basically that is why the interview and assessments are there. Then assessment, why assessment? Yes, you'll want to join this program, but you should require a bit of problem solving skills, how you comprehend instructions. As I said, you don't really require technical skills. And in the interview process, you're not going to encounter any technical assessments or technical interview. But if you don't have a good way of comprehending instructions and you don't have a technical school, a strong technical background, then how are you able to learn or do the labs? So just testing the basic willingness, problem solving, commitment, all that. I don't know if I've answered you, Rema.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Okay. Edwin, we're back to you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Janet. So I just have one last question. Maybe would you elaborate for us how the program structure looks like, the 8 to 5? And the last thing is to thank you for the presentation, because I'm sure I might not speak again.
Okay. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you. So the structure, there's a check-in for students, for the learners with the instructors, and then there's a 2-hour session that is from 9:30 to around 11. Then from 11, there's a lab session where all the learners are expected to join to do a live lab session based on what was taught in class. Then a 2 hours lunch break, back in the afternoon, another 2-hour session, and then a lab session. That is the structure. Have I answered you?
Yes, but I would also want to know, so you said there's a check-in at 8 and the session starts from 9:30 to 11, then a lab for 2 hours, so that means from 11 to 1, right?
Yeah.
And then 1 to 3, that's a lunch break?
No, from 9:30.
Yes.
All the way to 12.
Okay.
In between a 2-hour session, class session, and then 1-hour lab session. Okay. Then lunch break from 12 to 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Mufasa, I can pick up your question and then I will get back to Gilbert, who's going to share his experience. Yes, Mufasa.
Okay. Hello, Janet.
Hello.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It has been wonderful. So could you please advise me on what to check out before the program begins? That being that I'm fresh to this stuff, I'm curious to know what basic concepts I can look at before the program begins.
Okay. So you want guidance on some technical skills you can look at?
Yes.
Okay. So ones I recommend is Linux. Linux is important. If you can get to foundations of cloud computing, understanding cloud computing, what is a platform as a service, types of cloud, then networking, understanding IP addressing, subnetting, protocols. Python, yes, you can get to the basic of that just for automation. So basically everything that I mentioned, you can start to have a look at that. Linux, Python, networking, database, MySQL, and what is security. Look at common cyber attacks and how you can mitigate them. Yeah, just familiarize yourself with DDoS, what else? Man in the middle, and look at that perspective, look at it in a perspective of securing your cloud infrastructure.
Okay, then my second question is on security. So will the program be strict to cloud security, or will we be looking at security as a whole?
So you look at cloud security first of all before diving to cloud security, because you cannot get to cloud security if you don't understand security in a larger view.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. So with that, I believe I've answered all the questions.
Janet?
Yeah?
Let me go through a few questions and comments. Gaturu had mentioned that what of the people who are working, does this mean there's nothing for them? I think that is answered, Janet.
Yeah, so for guys who are working, the program, it's going to be a challenge for you, unless maybe if you have an employer who can give you 8 hours per day. But commitment is key. But again, we're looking at future plans where we can have a program, same AWS RESTART, that accommodates anybody who's working full-time. But for now, it just accommodates those who have the time.
Okay, then Michelle had asked about Linux. I think she was answered. Michelle, if you have another additional question, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I think the question was answered. But we have Lydia who is asking, can one rejoin the program a second time?
So, okay, there are reasons, I suppose there were reasons why you're not able to complete the program. So that is something that has to be analyzed. Why did you? Because again, when there are 400 slots and then you're given a chance and then you don't complete, that is a wasted opportunity for somebody else. But again, there are some things that happen that are beyond our control, like sickness and all that. So if it's something genuine, yeah, that can be understood. But if it's something that maybe you didn't know what you're getting to and you wasted somebody else's opportunity, then I don't think you might get back to the program. I hope that is answered.
Okay, Lydia, I hope you are answered. If not, you can drop in a comment in the chat or you can raise your hand and we can answer your question. There is a comment from Esther Nzisiu. She thanks you, Janet, for the wonderful presentation and for the entire CloudForce community for the program. That's Esther. And Salim Kasim says, I think with a good working environment, you can manage through. What do you think, Janet?
Yes, it is possible because I know Salim did the program when he was working, but if you have an agreement with your employer or if your employer values continuous learning for the benefit of the organization, then that's something you have to look at before joining the program.
Okay. Thank you, Janet. I think that's it. Back to you, Janet.
Okay. Thank you so much, Leah. So I'll give this opportunity to Gilbert so that he can share how the program impacted him. Welcome, Gilbert.
Thank you very much, Janet and the team. For those who don't know me, I've seen a number of people who knows me. I've seen Daniel. Daniel was my classmate. So for those who don't know me, my name is Gilbert Mutai. I currently work as a cloud support engineer at Angani Limited, based in Westland. And I'm an alumni of this program. I was in cohort 9, Kenai 15. So for those who haven't joined, you know what that means. And if you get a chance to join this program, it's a wonderful program. So it was a game changer for me. In fact, I was able to secure my current role before the graduation, before I did the graduation. So just to take this opportunity to encourage you to make the most out of this program, if in case you get a chance to join it. Sometimes the journey might be challenging, and but at the end it's incredibly rewarding. So you just need to take every opportunity to build your skills, especially through the hands-on labs that will be provided on the program, because those skills are very critical in preparing you to the real-world challenges that are in a cloud environment. So I can say AWS RESTART program is more than a training program. Even before you start deep diving in the cloud, you will get a refresher. Maybe you have some backgrounds in IT, you will get some refreshment on other skills like Linux, Python, and automation, networking, security, databases, which are very important. They are very important skills when it comes to roles associated with cloud. So I really don't have much. If you join the program, if you get the chance to join the program, we will meet. Me, I'm just there. I've never left. Always I'm there when it comes to maybe community meetings. So another thing, if you are interested in this cloud stuff, make sure you follow these guys, join the community, join the groups, WhatsApp groups, participate, just be proactive. Otherwise, I don't have much. I just want to wish you all the best on your journey to becoming cloud professionals. And that's all that I have today for you. Thank you.
Gilbert.
Yes.
There is a question for you from Jen.
Yes.
Would you advise us on whether you had an IT background before joining the program?
Yes. So I did a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, but just the way I have said, Restart was a game changer for me. So these things do complement each other, like the theoretical knowledge that I had in campus and the practical skills that I gained in Restart. So Restart sasa ni like kuingia kwa laptop, kuingia kwa commerce, like doing it practically. So you will just be ready for a job. So if you have background in IT, it's well and good. If you don't have it, the learning curve might be somehow steep. But if you have passion, you will manage it. Yeah. Is there any other question?
Gilbert, they're asking what role you do at Angani and how did you get that role?
Okay, as I said earlier, I currently work as a cloud support engineer, and Janet knows my story. It was funny. So the reason why I even said like follow these people, join these communities. If you see someone who is active in LinkedIn, who maybe in a way can help, just follow him or her. Communicate, like just be proactive. So how I got my role, I just texted someone on LinkedIn who was also an alumni of this program. She's called what? I'm forgetting that. She's even my workmate at the moment. So I texted her and asked how their company are doing the recruitment. She was able to tell me the steps on how they normally do. And in fact, the last statement was, in fact, they are recruiting at the moment. And she gave me a way of applying. I did my application, and 1 week later, I got invitation to the interview, and I passed my interview. It was that simple.
Wow, that simple. It was that simple.
Yes.
Yeah, so Gilbert is one who has really encouraged a lot because he got that role while he was still in the program. Gilbert, the skills that you learned in the AWS RESTART program, are they applicable in your day-to-day role?
All of them. So just even like some 2 hours ago, I was just provisioning some Linux VM. Like it's just the same thing. Maybe the environment or the product names can change, but you see those Linux skills you are learning, you will use them. The virtualization that you are learning, you will use them. So take them seriously. Even the labs, those are the one which will help you when you get a role in cloud. So even the way Janet said, like 90% of the servers run on Linux. That's true, because we rarely even get requests on Windows servers because there are few. So they're very applicable.
Thank you. Thank you, Gilbert, for sharing. So please, if you don't know Gilbert, follow him. He got his job by just texting somebody. And anybody else here. Follow CloudForceSKy community, join AWS user groups, Nairobi DevOps. There are a lot of opportunities, but they cannot get to you if you're not in any community, if you don't network, if you're not curious. That's it. So with that, I think I end my presentation and I'll hand it over back to Leah.
Janet, there is a comment here and a suggestion to you and your team that it is a good initiative and they will appreciate, Godfrey will appreciate if you can organize a program for night shift to accommodate some of them.
Usiku Sako.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is something that the plans is ongoing for Usiku Sako members who are working full time. Yeah, so that you can still accommodate them because it's still growth. You need that skill, you need to transition, that is in the pipeline.
Okay. Wamboy Kinori, you have asked about the WhatsApp groups. You can follow CloudForceSKy. I have pinned the link to CloudForceSKy and get you into the WhatsApp group. There is the AWS user group Kenya. You can follow that, and the Nairobi DevOps on LinkedIn. You can follow them and get into their WhatsApp groups. Those are the WhatsApp groups you need to follow. So if there is no question, anyone with a question so that I don't leave you out as I close this webinar?
So before we close, we shared the link on the chat box of the application link if you want to join cohort 12 that will run from January 2025 to April. So apply.
Okay. It's there, and I have pinned it. You cannot continue. Kimari Victor says, thank you for the session. He's learned a lot. Thank you, Victor. So if there are no further questions, as I said before, this webinar was brought to you by CloudForceSKy. I have put the links to our LinkedIn. I put the link to our Twitter and the YouTube channel where you will find this webinar. It is recorded, and other webinars that you've had before. As I've said, Janet has done a number of webinars, and go and check her out as you check others out. And this is our last webinar for this year. So I might not see some of you again until next year. So I do wish you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year to you, lovely, wonderful people. So this is goodbye. See you next year. Bye.